Hi everyone, I'm Danny from First Healthcare Compliance, and here with me today I have Sam Roden. He's the Director of SMB Sales at SecurityMetrics, and we're happy to have him with us today. How are you doing today, Sam?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for having me.
Great. So I just wanted to kind of go over a couple questions with you and get a little bit more background about who you guys are and what you do to kind of fill in our clients and share with them kind of what you guys do. Could you introduce me to SecurityMetrics and share your history with us?
Yeah, of course. So SecurityMetrics was originally founded in the year 2000. A couple of years before its founding, our CEO, Brad Caldwell, was working with his former company. And at the time they experienced a data breach, their website was hacked. And after that point, they were searching for some qualified help to help with the remediation plan and to kind of find out what happened and fix the problems for the future. And at the time, there wasn't really a market or an affordable solution for him to be able to accomplish that goal. And so at that time, he kind of found this little niche in the industry that he wanted to be able to provide a affordable solution for small companies that deal with these issues of data breaches and having their websites hacked. And so along with providing affordable solutions for these forensic investigations that he was looking for, he wanted to provide some simple tools and some steps to help prevent those data breaches from happening. And so since the company was founded, what started off as kind of a small security company has grown into a global leader in data security and compliance solutions. And so we really focus on PCI compliance. The ultimate goal is really to increase overall data security.
Could you share a little bit more with us about what it means to be PCI compliant and why that's important for every merchant?
Absolutely. So really to understand the importance of PCI compliant, I think it's really important to understand kind of the context and the risk involved with accepting credit card payments. So just to put things in perspective, in 2016, of the tracked data breaches that occurred, there were 873. There's probably a number of others that went untracked or unreported. And of those 873 data breaches, 30 million records were lost or stolen. This is according to the Identity Theft Resource Center. And so any business that's accepting, maintaining, transmitting, processing, storing any kind of payment card information really is at risk. And I think a lot of people in the industry kind of feel like they may be exempt or that they're not going to be targeted. And unfortunately, everybody that's processing cards could be at risk. And so anybody that's accepting this card information is required to meet certain standards that were set by the payment card industry. They're called the Payment Card Industry Data Security Standards. And this is an important step in protecting the sensitive data that these entities and organizations handle. And not only is the data security important for their customers, but in the case of a breach, the non-compliance fees and the brand damage can be insurmountable in some cases, and the companies are not really able to respond.
So what top tips would you give in order to help organizations kind of navigate PCI compliance?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's a question that we get a lot. I can probably put that into, I guess, three kind of categories. The first category for the merchants that we recommend doing is that a lot of their merchant processing companies may be charging some kind of non-compliance fee. Because it is required of them to do it, it's something they have to do once a year. Oftentimes those non-compliance fees can add up without them really knowing. And so the first step is to find out what the merchant processor is really requiring of them and find out if they're being charged unnecessary fees. Along with that, as soon as they have achieved compliance, it's very important that they report that to their merchant processing company to avoid that in the future. The second step is to make sure that whoever's handling your compliance really knows what they're doing. There's a lot of people that think that they understand the PCI world, but it's a pretty specific. There's a lot of specific information that you have to know and have specific experience to really be able to handle it successfully. And so something that we always recommend is whoever's providing PCI, we recommend having a technical support as part of that package. Most times when you're businesses are going through the process, they're not going to have the experience or expertise to be able to effectively become compliant. And so having that technical support or consulting team as a part of your package is extremely important. And then kind of the overarching recommendation that we make with PCI Compliance is to take it seriously. It's not something that it was implemented just as another checkbox, as another hoop to jump through. The overall goal of PCI Compliance is to increase data security and to protect organizations and to protect the customers from these data breaches that can be extremely costly in many instances.
So what would you say sets SecurityMetrics apart from other PCI compliance providers?
So first of all, we're really one of only a handful of companies in the world that are certified on multiple levels to provide all major PCI compliance validation processes. So not only do we certify and assist in completing the compliance aspect, but we do have a number of tools and processes and programs and documentation that we offer to not only achieve full compliance, but to really secure the information. And so our sales and customer support teams have won multiple awards for their ability to help merchants and help business owners achieve compliance and ultimately secure their sensitive data.
So all of this sounds great. How would our customers get started with SecurityMetrics? What do you guys have in place to help everyone get the ball rolling?
Well, and really our focus in that regard is to keep it simple. Because it's something new and unknown for most organizations, we want to simplify that process. And so what we start doing is we have a dedicated team. So the customers will call in and reach Caden Pope, who's kind of over this organization with First Healthcare. He and or one of his team members will initially take 10 to 15 minutes typically and walk them through the setup portion for PCI compliance, which includes some yes or no questions. We ultimately want to determine how the cards are being handled, how they're being processed, if they're being stored, and based on that information, we're able to determine which security standards that are required by PCI, which of those actually apply to the business. At that point, we would be able to provide you different options, different packages that will best suit the needs and the expertise of the individual organizations, and provide a quote. And obviously with these quotes, because of our relationship with First Healthcare Compliance, would receive a pretty significant preferred customer discount as well. And so at that point, after the initial setup phase, the customers are required to complete something called a self-assessment questionnaire. There may be some additional requirements as well, depending on how they're processing cards and how their network is set up. And all of those options and packages would be described by the compliance consultant at that point.
Great. It sounds like you guys have a great system in place. I really appreciate you taking the time to kind of go over all this really important information with us today. Is there any other information that you wanted to kind of share with everyone?
The only recommendation that I'd make is if there are ever questions or concerns about PCI, to give us a call. We'd love to answer any questions and simplify the process as much as we can. Like I said, it can be complicated. It's something that some organizations don't really look forward to doing, but there is huge benefit for taking it seriously, for really understanding the protocol that's required and really taking advantage of the experience and expertise that we have in the industry.
Great. Well, again, thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate it. Hopefully we'll get the chance to work with you guys more in the future. Thank you.
Yep, we look forward to it. Thanks, Danny.